I don't think I have very many email records out there. So in this case, I have 28. So again, when we click on the disposition search, we can see the snapshots that have been ran. And so in this case, I have one that I ran back in July and then the one that I ran today. And when I click on it, I will actually see then the results of that disposition search executed. So we can see the object name, its associated file number, the calculated date of destruction, its full location within the content repository, and then what that default action is going to be on it. So in this case, it is going to be to delete the electronic format. Another key thing that I can do with a disposition search is I have the ability to create a disposition report for circulation from that disposition search. So I simply come into our report options, and we have a number of reports. We can report on our file plan at a high level, and then at a detailed level, we can create a disposition listing for boxes and boxes with content. We can see the disposition report. If we're using classification terms, we can see those either in alphabetical order or hierarchical order. And if we're using our security module where we have security clearances and supplemental markings, we can also run that security report. But again, in this case, we're just going to choose disposition report. We can name it. We can choose where in the system that we want it saved. And then we can filter by that, again, specific report. If we don't select any of them, it will run it against all of these disposition searches that we've executed. And I've created some of these already, so we're going to take a look at those in a minute. So now we've classified our objects, we've retained them, and we've seen how we've dispositioned them. But really key is how do we declare things records in our content repository. So we're going to go actually take a look at some content that I have set up here. And again, in our system, we do a hierarchical view, so you can see there is what we call a hyperlink trail here. So I can see I'm actually 3 levels down, and I have a number of folders here, some customer emails, some audit government risk articles, some press releases, etc., some RM reports. And I have the ability to set the records detail on a folder level. And by the way, if I click that little circle with an icon, it takes me directly to the records detail screen. So it's a pretty quick link to navigate there, or I can choose properties and records detail to navigate there also. But at a folder level, we can see the date that this was declared a record at a folder level, its status, the last time it was updated. So I actually dropped some emails in here today, so it updated the status date, whether it's part of the Vital Records program or not. And then anything that's going to be saved into this folder is going to be marked official automatically because I've turned official on at the folder level. And then the storage medium, again, the associated RSI, and I have the ability, again, from here to view the details. So I can see, what the calculated date of destruction would be for this particular object. Tells me the date value that it's using, when it's the retention period. So in this case, it's 1 month. And again, what that default process is. So we have various methods of allowing you to declare a record. This is the most common one. Our organizations or organizations using our software tend to organize things by folder and actually set everything at a folder level. So all the end user has to do is simply save something into the folder. But we also, for existing content, have the ability to declare it a record from that records detail screen. So again, because this is not a record yet, I don't have my little icon to click to go to the records detail screen. So I simply click Properties Records Detail. And from here, I can select the appropriate RM classification. So we have the ability to browse the entire file plan, or users can identify favorite ones that they use frequently, or set up user pick list or group pick list, or to search the RM classifications, or to search by terms. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and just choose the user pick list, and I'm going to say that we're going to select temporary. This is a temporary record. So I select my classification. Again, it's pulling in the information automatically for me, so we can see the piece of the file plan, the file number, and if I had an RSI selected here, it would have pulled that in. In this case, we'll go ahead and search for one, and we're going to say that these are going to be retained for 2 years. If I were managing emails or pulling in emails, it would also pull in additional information such as the author of the email, the addressee, other CCs, and these are for my Vital Records programs, and it's telling me again when my next review would be. All I simply have to do once I've assigned that classification is click the official button and hit update, and now this object is an official record in my repository. And what that really means for us is an update of the permission model. So I was the owner of this document. As the owner, I now only have the ability to see this and copy this document. So that's CNC content. The Records Management Group and Records Officers Group, if you have assigned them, now have been added to the permission model, and they have full permissions to this object. Any other group that may have had associated permissions, depending on how you set it up, may either have C or C content or no privileges at all. But that's really key because behind the scenes, that's going to keep your end users from being able to disposition or delete a record outside of the disposition process. The third method that I have for declaring something a record is when I do an add. So we have the ability in our version to define what records management metadata fields that we want to be presented in our add screens. So in this case, I've added the record date, the status date, the mark official, the RSI, and we also have the classifications here. Again, this is completely configurable, so if we go into my records fields option here, I can simply say, what I want to show there, what I want to make mandatory. So if I want them to, actually assign an RSI every time, I can say that that's required on the add item page, and they'll have to do it before they can add the item. But in this case, all I really wanted was the classification and the mark official because we're going to inherit from the RSI. So I very quickly can change that, go back to my folder, and this time when I do an add document, you'll notice that I now only have the classification and the mark official item. So as I add this piece of content into the repository, I can declare the record on an add. I'm just going to go out and pick a document